So hi everyone, and today we're going to be doing a slightly faster yoga flow, which means there'll be a little bit less instruction, but there'll be more time to flow through the poses at a faster pace. But I'll also give you plenty of time to rest and reflect. So we're going to start today in a wide-legged child's pose. So if you come to face the front of your mat, you're going to have the knees facing outwards towards the sides of the mat. And as you take a deep inhale at the top, you're then just going to exhale and walk the hands forward, bringing the chest, the forehead, and melting all the way down into the mat. So as you come into extended child's pose, just feel a really nice stretch in the hips and in the shoulders as you just melt down into the pose to begin this practice today. So as we begin the practice, just try to deepen the breath and really elongate the exhale. And as we flow through the practice today, it might be slightly faster than what you're used to, but if it is too fast, you can always come back into this pose, which is extended child's pose. So just remember the grounding that you feel in this pose, and remember to come back here if everything gets too much, okay? So as you take a deep inhale in, just walk the hands back up into your tabletop pose. So today we're really going to try to marry the movement with the breath. So instead of just rushing through the poses, even though it's slightly faster, we still need to move and flow through the breath. So remembering that yoga is a movement meditation. So we're going to start slowly, but then we're progressively going to get faster into our cat-cow. So as we inhale, we push up into the hands as they're underneath the shoulders. And we look upwards as we extend the chest forward. And we really try to create a curve in the spine, really arching the spine. As we push up, we round the spine and exhale down. Inhale, pushing up. Arching the spine. Exhale, coming up and rounding the spine. So we're going to start to move slightly faster now. So I'm going to allow you to move at your own pace as long as you try to move with the breath. Okay, so try to create some fire here in the belly and fire in the spine as you really start to increase and really start to warm up the spine, warming up the stomach. Good, and then come back into your neutral spine. So from here, just try to create some movement by wiggling the hips from side to side, but in a really fast motion whilst we move the shoulders and the head, perhaps moving forward and back, creating some energy, creating some fire. Perhaps circles in the hips, in the shoulders. Good, okay, so on the next inhale, we come back into our tabletop pose. On the exhale, we straighten and elongate, extending the left leg out to the side of us. So we have a really nice straight leg and we create a small stretch there from the hips all the way down to the foot. Now as we inhale, we push up into the hands, and as we exhale, we slowly and gradually lower down, and we start to create some warmth in the arms and in the shoulders. This is to prepare us for our poses later on. And then as we move through and we exhale and inhale, we start to move faster, really creating some warmth here in the spine, in the neck, in the shoulders, in the biceps, in the triceps. Good. So perhaps we go even faster this time, remembering to breathe. And come back into your neutral spine, into tabletop pose. Good, well done. On the next inhale, ground and root yourself down. On the exhale, take the right leg out to the side. Find that deep stretch from the hip all the way down to the foot. And as you inhale, push up into the hands. As you exhale, just slowly melt down. Starting slowly, warming up the shoulders. And then as we try to gradually get faster, remember to breathe. Moving slightly faster, creating warmth in those biceps. Moving even faster. Good, and then coming back to our tabletop pose. Good. So once again, perhaps we find some movement here. Just warming up the hips and the spine. Warming up the neck as we ripple forward and ripple round. Good, okay, so the next pose we're going to come into is downward facing dog. So for this, we inhale and we tuck the toes under. As we exhale, we float the hips back, we float the bum upwards towards the sky, and we relax the head down, coming into downward facing dog. We make sure that we're pedaling out the feet and we're finding strength and stability in the shoulders here. Remember to take a deep inhale. And we take a deep exhale, and then we find stillness in our downward facing dog. Good. On the next inhale, we lift the left leg up behind us. The toe, the knee and the hip is pointing down. On the exhale, we bend that left knee to meet the left elbow. We inhale, straighten. We exhale, bend. We inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Keep going. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Good. Pedal out the feet. Come into stillness here. Take a deep inhale in stillness. And a deep exhale. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Okay, on the next inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up behind us. Toe, hip, and knees pointing down. As we exhale, we bend the knee and it comes to meet the right elbow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and then come back to downward facing dog. Find stillness in downward facing dog. So either you can stay here for 5 breaths in downward facing dog, or if you want to calm the breath and perhaps just take a rest, you can bring the knees down to the floor and we come into child's pose, which is slightly different from before. The knees are together and then we sit back onto the heels. And we walk the hands forward, the chest and the head melts all the way down. We take some really deep inhales and some really deep exhales. And we try to make sure that we can hear our own breath here. So we're not trying to create subtle breath. We're trying to create really deep and meaningful breathing to allow it to flow all the way through the body. So you should be able to hear the deep inhale and hear the deep exhale. So take a few more moments to try to find that really deep inhale and deep exhale. Okay, on the next inhale, we're going to walk back up to our tabletop pose. So coming back into our stability, we're grounding here. On the next inhale, we tuck the toes under, and on the exhale, we push back into downward facing dog. We pedal out the feet. Okay, on the next inhale, we straighten the left leg, and as we inhale, we bend the left knee and it comes towards the chest. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Remember the breath. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Okay, inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Everything is pointing down. As you inhale, lift the leg, and as you inhale, lift the leg, as you exhale, bend it towards the chest. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And all the way back into downward facing dog. Good. Okay, this time we're going to stay in downward facing dog unless you need a rest. If you need a rest, come into child's pose. On the next inhale, straighten the left leg up behind you. Take a deep inhale here and a deep exhale. As you inhale, just lift the left leg slightly higher, and then as you exhale, twist it and bend the knee out round to the right knee. Back, inhale up to center. Exhale, twist and bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, twist and bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, twist and bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. If you're still in child's pose, you might want to meet us back here. Or if you need a rest, feel free. Okay, on the next inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. Really push it upwards towards the sky. On the inhale, you're going to bend the knee and twist it over towards the left elbow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, twist. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, twist. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale, and then back to downward facing dog. So take 5 deep breaths here in downward facing dog, or lower the knees down and come into your child's pose. So 5 deep breaths, remember to make the breath audible. Okay, and on the next inhale, we're going to come back up to tabletop pose, finding our stability here. And then on the next inhale, we're going to tuck the toes under. Exhale into downward facing dog. Good. So from here, we're then going to lift the left leg up behind us, straight leg, everything is pointing down. Then we're going to bend that left knee and step it all the way through in between the hands. And we're going to frame that front foot. So we're coming into a high lunge here. So as we step up, we inhale, we bring the arms up into a high lunge. From here, we're going to come into warrior two. So we're going to blossom out. So we inhale, rise up. As we exhale, we blossom out and the back foot goes to a 90-degree angle. Front foot is facing forward. We look through to the middle finger of the front arm. We check our alignment. So we look at our body and we look at our legs. And we just check that there's no arching of the spine. If it is, we tilt the pelvis. We check there's no rounding forward. We tuck the ribs in, so we're not jutting out the ribs. And we take a moment in stillness here. Perhaps find some bend in that front knee. As you inhale, you take the left hand up towards the ceiling and the right hand back towards the back leg. Exhale back to centre. Inhale back up. Coming into peaceful warrior. Exhale back down. Inhale back up. Exhale back down. Inhale back up. Exhale back down. Stay here in warrior two. Take a deep inhale. On the exhale, cartwheel the hands down over the front foot. We come back into our high lunge. But then we step that back foot forward and we come into our forward fold Uttanasana. So we decompress the spine here. We take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Good. We rock forward and back, shake out the head. Okay, so now we're going to step the left foot all the way back and we're going to come up into high lunge on the other side. So the left foot's back, the right foot's forward and it's bent. We come up into a high lunge. We check the alignment of our hips, of our back. We avoid jutting out into an arched back or rounding forward. We tuck the ribs under. We swing the arms up. We find our comfortable lunge position, finding a really deep stretch in the left hip flexor. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, you're going to blossom out and open into warrior two. So that back left foot comes to a 90-degree angle. We bend the knee towards that right foot. We check our alignment. We check the ribs. We check the back. We'll look over the third finger. And we take a moment in stillness here. On the next inhale, we bring the right arm up and the left arm goes back into peaceful warrior. Exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Exhale in warrior two. Stay here. Melt into the pose, feel the strength in the quads, in the legs. Take a few moments here. On the next inhale, take the left arm to meet the right, frame the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Good, okay. This time we're gonna walk the hands all the way back to meet the feet, and we come down into our forward fold, Uttanasana. Chest is over the thighs, the head, the crown of the head is pointing down. We rock from side to side. We decompress the spine once more, and then on the next inhale, we roll the spine all the way up, vertebra by vertebra, all the way back up. And we come into Tadasana, our mountain pose. Good. So from here, I'm just going to move my mat slightly out as it's moving. So from here, we're now going to come into our next pose, which is our low lunge. So we're going to take our arms up towards the ceiling in Urdhva Hastasana. Take a small back bend here. Stay up. As you exhale, you're going to melt all the way forward. And then you're going to walk the hands all the way back into your downward facing dog. So to come into low lunge, you're going to lift the right leg up behind you. You're going to step it through in between the hands. Lower the left leg, the left knee. Coming into low lunge here. Hands go onto the hips. We check the alignment. We avoid the knee going over the ankle, so we avoid the temptation just to sink into the pose, however good this might feel. So we actually create two planes of movement, and we push back with that right knee and that right foot, and we push forward with the left hip. So we stay here on our low lunge. Inhale, swing the arms up. Exhale here. On the next inhale, we just slightly create a back bend as we lean backwards. And as we exhale, we frame the front foot, we come back into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Inhale, left leg goes up behind you. And then it steps all the way through again, coming into our low lunge. Right knee goes back down. We come up, hands go onto the hips. We create those two planes of movement. So the left foot is grounding down, and we're almost pushing back, and we're pushing forward with the right hip. So we're avoiding that need or that desire to sink into the hips, sink into the lumbar spine. Very bad for the hips and the spine. So we push up and we use the strength of the legs and the core. We stay here, we inhale, we bring the arms up. We exhale here. As we inhale, we create a small back bend. As we exhale, we frame the front foot. We come back into downward facing dog. Good. Okay, on the next inhale, we straighten the left leg up behind us. And then we bend that left knee and we take it over and open up our pose here. Opening up into the hips. Perhaps if we can, we look under the left shoulder. Try to point the toes here. Try to find stability and balance in the pose. If you can, perhaps you push that hip slightly further open. Look under that shoulder even more. And as you exhale, bring the foot back down. Pedal out the feet. Good. Okay, this time we're going to do the same on the other side. So inhale, the right leg goes up. And you exhale, you bend the knee and you open the hip. You look under that right shoulder. Take a moment perhaps to point the foot and really open the hip even wider, looking under the right shoulder even further if you can. Take a deep inhale in here and a deep exhale, come back down into your downward facing dog. Good, this time we lift the left leg up again. And this time we're going to bend the knee and step it all the way forward in between the hands, coming into low lunge once more. Walk the hands back, hands are onto the hips. We inhale, swing the arms up. And as we exhale, left arm goes back, right arm goes forward. Good. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left arm goes forward, right arm goes back. Inhale back to center. Exhale, frame the front foot, take it back to downward facing dog. Next inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. On the exhale, step it through into low lunge. Left knee goes down, we walk the hands back. Hands onto the hips, we find our position. We inhale the arms up, we look up. We exhale, left arm goes back, right arm goes forward. Inhale to center. Exhale, left arm goes forward, right arm goes back. Inhale to center. Exhale, frame the front foot. We come back into our downward facing dog. Good, so we pedal out the feet here. So from here, we're going to do our chaturanga. So we inhale in downward facing dog. We exhale and ripple through to the top of a plank. We inhale as we bend the elbows and allow them to graze the ribs. We inhale back into upward facing dog. Chest is facing forward. We exhale back into downward facing dog. Good. Pedaling out the feet. So we've got two options here. We've got three. So we need the feet to come to meet the arms. So simply we can step forward. Very easy. Okay? Or perhaps if we want more of a stretch, we can slowly walk the feet up towards the hands to meet in Uttanasana. Or, one that I really like, is we look towards the hands, we bend the knees and we come onto the tiptoes, we push upwards and we come to meet the hands. When we're here, we straighten the legs and we come up into our forward fold, chest is facing forward. As we exhale, we bend down, thighs are over the knees. So for this next move, either the hands can go onto the shins, the thighs, or they can touch the floor. So as we inhale, lift the hands up to create a straight back, either onto the thighs, the shins, or the floor. Exhale back down. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bend. Inhale, stretch. Try it in different poses. Exhale, bend. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, bend. Okay, on the next one, we're going to just walk the feet back into our plank pose. So just find the top of a push-up, your plank pose. We're going to do a couple of exercises here. So we can either stay here if this is enough, or we can inhale and we can exhale just slightly down and then pushing back up. Really building strength in the arms. So inhale at the top, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale up. And as we exhale again, we step back into downward facing dog. We take 5 deep breaths in downward facing dog, or we lower the knees down and we come into our child's pose. Okay, so from here, we're going to come back into our tabletop pose. So we're really working into the arms and the shoulders today. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into our dolphin pose. So what I'd like you to do is just put your forearms onto the floor, parallel with each other, about shoulder width apart. The bum is up into the air. On the next inhale, we're going to bring the bum up into the air as if we were going into downward facing dog, but the forearms are staying on the floor. So tuck the toes under, inhale. Exhale, float the bum up, straighten the legs and come into your dolphin pose here. Now stay here if this is enough, or as we build strength and warm up the shoulders, we can move the feet forward, we can move them back, but this is a really great pose for creating strength in the shoulders for handstand, Pinchamirasana, for handstands, shoulder stands, and all other exercises which use the shoulders and which use the wrists. So take a few moments more here. And then just practice walking the feet back and walking the hands in. Notice the difference in how it feels. And then when you meet your kind of resting point, stay here for 3, 2, 1, lower the knees down, come back into your child's pose and come into your resting pose here. Okay, good. So we're going to come back into creating some strength and warmth in the shoulders one more time. So this time we're just going to come into our forearm plank. So we're going to just lower the forearms back onto the floor. We're then going to walk the knees back, and on the next inhale, we're just going to straighten out the left leg, straighten out the right leg, lower the bum down into our plank pose. Engage the core. Don't allow the hips and the bum to sink. Engage the core so we're in a straight line from the crown all the way down to the tailbone. Equally, avoid pushing up, okay, and rounding into the spine. We want to create a really nice long line for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees down, walk the hands back into tabletop pose. Good. So from here, all we're going to do is just walk back to stand on our knees. We're going to take a deep inhale, roll the shoulders back. And just take a moment to release the neck. Release the shoulders. We've done a lot of work in the neck and the shoulders here. So just take a moment to find some warmth. Good. Okay, so from here we're going to walk onto our feet. So step the right foot forward, step the left foot forward, and we're going to come into our mountain pose. So when we come into mountain pose, shoulders are down, palms are facing forward, chin is tucked down, feet are mat width apart. So from here we're going to come into our final pose today, which is going to be warrior 3. So on the next inhale, bring your hands into prayer at the chest. Place the weight onto the left foot and just step the right foot slightly back behind you as you balance onto the toes. So what we're going to do here in a moment is we're going to hinge forward from the hips. We're going to take the chest forward and we're going to lift that back right leg up. Okay, so take a moment here to inhale. As you exhale, just float that right leg off the floor as you come into warrior 1. The hip of the right leg is always facing down. The knee and the toe is facing down. So stay here in warrior 3. Find the balance. Put the hands on the hips perhaps to check the alignment of the hips. Often we float the right hip open as it's easier, but we try to tuck it down, pointing down. We stay here. If we want to increase, we take our hands into aeroplane arms back behind us. If we want to increase further, we take the arms out in front of us. When we're ready, we bring back to prayer. We bend that left knee and we step back into mountain pose. We close the eyes. We inhale, roll the shoulders back. We tuck the pelvis down. We find the breath for a few moments on our own. Finding stillness here, noticing the effects of the practice, perhaps noticing our expectations or our frustrations. And we let those go. Deep inhale here, deep exhale, blink open the eyes. Okay, so this time we're going to put the pressure onto the right foot. So place the right foot down and then just take the left foot slightly behind onto the tops of the toes. Bring the hands into prayer pose on an inhale and just settle yourself in on the exhale. On the next inhale, we're going to float the left leg up off the floor. Toe, hip, knee is pointing down as we hinge forward from the hips. We come into warrior 3 on the other side. Use the hands to check the alignment of the hips. So either we stay here with hands in prayer, or perhaps we take them to airplane arms behind us. Or if we want to take it further, we balance them out in front of us. When we're ready, we move them back to prayer. And on the exhale, we lower the left knee down and we come into our mountain pose. Close the eyes. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. We find our strong mountain pose. And on the next exhale, we're just going to, with the eyes closed, slowly roll the spine all the way forward as we come into our forward fold. We release and decompress the spine to find a counter pose. We rock from side to side with the eyes closed. We exhale deeply. We inhale fully. We move the feet, we move the spine, the head, the hips, and we find some release there. Well done. Okay, so from here we open the eyes. We're just going to step back into our tabletop pose, so knees come down to the floor. And from tabletop, we're going to move back into our starting position, which was wide-legged child's pose. So we move the knees out towards the side of the mat. We sink the hips back. We take a deep inhale, and then we walk the hands and the chest forward all the way down into wide-legged child's pose. We take a few moments in child's pose to really notice the breath and really try to calm the breath as we slow the practice down into our resting pose. So we notice the inhale, and then we really try to elongate the exhale as we calm the nervous system, calm the breath down. We notice the stretch in the shoulders and the hips, and we really allow ourselves to sink down into the mat. And on the next inhale, just slowly walk the hands back as we come into our final pose, which is child's pose. So we bring the knees back in, and either, if it's more comfortable, we can stretch the arms out in front of us as we lower the forehead, or we take the arms back, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And we finish our practice today in our child's pose. And we start to just quieten the breath slightly more. We relax the whole body into the earth. And we just take a few quiet moments of reflection to really think about how we feel here, as we've worked really hard in this fast, quick flow. We've taken this time to respect our bodies and our minds. So we allow ourselves to accept the practice and allow the practice to absorb into the body. Really sinking down into the earth and noticing where the mind is going today. Resisting the urge to move, get up, to finish the practice early. We respect the body and allow the effects of the practice to sink in. And at this point you can rest longer in child's pose and take some more time here to really sink into the practice and sink into the resting pose. Or if you're ready, you can just slowly, with the eyes closed, walk the hands back and come to sit onto the heels with the knees bent, placing the hands onto the thighs. Bring the hands into prayer at the chest. Take a deep inhale, in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slowly blinking open the eyes, thanking yourself for coming to the practice today. Well done. Namaste.